Thanks for stopping by. In today's video, from a professional, everything you'll need, where to get it at the best price for the top quality, from soup to nuts, beginners to professionals, I'll give you the best prices for the best quality of everything you need for ice dye tie-dye. Come on in and check it out. Save yourself lots of money and even more heartache. I am Dyeverse Designs, positive energy designs for positive energy people, aka living for the better good of all. It is my mission, my passion, and my joy in life. Basically, I live to serve, helping others any way I can. So in today's video, I am excited, giving up all my top resources, exactly what you'll need from start to finish for ice dye tie-dye, giving you all my best professional resources. This is 100% unsponsored, unbiased, unpaid for. I get absolutely nothing in any form for any of the reviews that I'm doing here today. Okay, so let's get right to it because this is a long video. You can't do this comprehensive a video without taking some time. First thing you need is a good working surface, good large working surface. You do not want to use something like a kitchen table. You're going to be putting shirts that have soda ash on them on this table. You do not want to eat something after that, even if you clean it, okay? Just do yourself a favor and find yourself a work surface, or buy yourself a large sheet of plywood and just sand it down real good to put on top of a table, but don't use something that you're going to eat off of. Next thing we're going to talk about is where to get something to actually put the dye on. Believe it or not, Walmart is a great resource. They happen to have these tapestries which are awesome to practice on, to do new techniques, work out new designs. They're 100% cotton flannel, nice and thick. The edges do fray, but they take the colors beautiful. They work beautifully. They dry really quickly too. So really, really nice. I've had a lot of people really like how much thicker they are than your standard tapestries. Now for long sleeve shirt, Walmart George brand, you can pick these up about $4.95 a shirt. On sale, they're only $3. They take the dye gorgeous. They're much thicker for a t-shirt than I would have expected. Very soft, very thick material. You definitely want to check that out. So next, sweatshirts. There's a brand that Walmart sells in the women's department called Time and True, TRU. Trust me, almost everything I've ever done that's been Time and True has come out gorgeous. Super soft fleece sweatshirt, only about $8 or $9. Takes the dye beautifully, gorgeous to easy to work with, so soft. The other benefit to these is that, like, when you have to get one sleeve inside the other, two little shake pops and it's right down perfectly flat. Definitely you've got to check that out. You're going to do this as a hobby. These are definitely some great suggestions. The Colorado Wholesale Corporation. The Colorado Wholesale Corporation sells wholesale. This is where you're going to get your high-end quality items, like your hoodies, whether it's zip down or just pullover. Those are $13.95 a piece if you buy a dozen of one size. Now, most people aren't going to do that for hoodies or sweatshirts, but they may do that for t-shirts. You may do a dozen t-shirts in a year, or want to do a dozen t-shirts in a year. So to pay maybe $2.50 a t-shirt is a pretty good deal for a really quality, nice thickness. Cotton comes in weights, and most of their weights are over 5 ounces, like 5.3 ounces to 6 ounces. That's a really, really thick quality shirt, especially for a t-shirt. Now, we'll compare that to the Adair group. Now, the Adair group, same idea. You gotta buy a dozen in one size to get the price that you're gonna see when you go on the website. But you're going to see their prices are a little bit cheaper, like maybe even up to 10, 20, even so, you may even get the shirts as low as like $1.99 a t-shirt. The lower the price, the more likely it is that the item is what they call a second. A second is an item that has the most minor defect that 99.9% of the people in this country would never see. But they can't really sell it at full cost as a completed item. Not all of their stuff is like that, but you can buy seconds that are really, really dirt cheap. Which would be great if you're going to be practicing new stuff, because then if it messes up, you're not wasting a lot of money. My last suggestion would be for dresses. Unfortunately, I have only found one dress at one place so far. That's Dresshead.com. And at Dresshead.com, I found this particular dress. It is an awesome dress. It's got this lace section you can see there down under the hips that takes the dye beautifully, by the way. But it is a little bit on the flimsy side, not terribly, but it's not a really solid lacing, so you could end up either tearing it, not too easily, but it could be torn. You may, receive one with like one little lace piece that's not attached right. But aside from that, it is really nice. It has a tie halter top to it. I've done several videos of what I've done with this dress. I bought 5 of them. I actually bought 5 different styles of dresses from Dresshead, but the other 4 would not take the dye, so you have to be careful of that. The other downside to Dresshead.com is that they will charge you their shipping charge, which is about anywhere from $2.99 to $3.99 at a given time during the year per item. So even though I had 5 dresses shipped in the same box that weighed like maybe about 16 ounces, not even 16 ounces, it didn't even weigh like 8 ounces for the 5 dresses, and I paid probably close to $16 or 20 some dollars in shipping. I remember I paid almost as much in shipping as I did for the dresses themselves. But the dress itself was only $6.99. So even with $3.99 shipping, you're talking about a $10 dress. All of mine sold literally within the first hour of being put up. This was the first dress that I did. I didn't even have this set up 5 minutes. And a guy just stopped who was driving by and said, "Please tell me that that's a large for my wife." And when I told him it was, he asked how much. I gave him the full real value of the dress. I said $35. He just pulled out his wallet, and I started to explain it's got, the top Dharma dyes, the top professional dyes. He said, "Believe me, you don't have to explain a word." He said the brilliance of the color. He said the way you do your presentation out here. He goes, and just looking at the workmanship that went into it, he goes, "You don't have to justify your price. It's worth every penny and more." So that's a good tribute to taking your time and putting the time into a project. Don't cut corners, okay? But again, this is the kind of thing that you can do with it, or you can check out some other videos of mine. And when you do your projects, please send me some pics at diversedesigns@yahoo.com, okay? Or even if you just want to chat, I love talking with you. So now that you have your item and you have some place to work on, you're going to need to soak the item in soda ash for at least 20 minutes and then wring it out or spin dry it out till the shirt is just damp. Soda ash, what it actually does is it prepares the shirt to accept the dye. Scientifically, what it does is it raises the pH level of the shirt. Ideally, you want a pH level of 10.5 according to Dharma Trading Company. If you use 1 cup of soda ash per gallon of water, you'll find that is almost exactly to point, like 1/100th of a point off of that 10.5. You won't even need a pH meter if you do it that way. So always use 1 cup. You do want a dedicated plastic cup for that. You do not want to use this cup for anything else. I will add one more caveat. Soda ash is toxic when it is in its open air powder form. So you always wear a good pair of like nitrile gloves, like medical exam type gloves, and a very solid mask, like an NK95 mask, I think they call them. I use a very heavy duty mask. It almost looks like a World War II gas mask, but I have very bad COPD, so any small fibers in the air can really damage my lungs. So I have to take a few extra precautions, but I will warn you, definitely want to do that. So next you're going to need something to keep your soda ash in, because you can only buy it in 1 pound, 5 pound, or 10 pound increments. I usually buy 10 pound increments, but I'm doing a lot. I usually am doing a lot of shirts. Now you can reuse your soda ash water as well, so don't feel like you're going to be spending a lot of money all the time. Soda ash runs roughly about $8.95 to $11.95 on either Amazon.com or DharmaTradingCompany.com. To keep my soda ash in, I use a big tub from Johnson's world famous caramel corn popcorn. It is the best in the whole world. If you've never been to Ocean City, New Jersey, definitely check them out, or check them out online. It is the best in the world. But you want something airtight to keep that in. Again, you don't want those fibers, those particles floating around in the air. They're extremely small. And on the right, you can buy a pail to soak it in, to put the soda ash and water in. I got this one for $1, and it'll soak 2 sweatshirts with no problem at one time. So where do I get my dyes? I get both my dyes and my soda ash most of the time from Dharma Trading Company, and my dyes are the Procyon MX Fiber Reactive dyes. The only other brand you normally really see popular would be Jacquard, and Dharma Trading Company really makes them both, so you're buying theirs either way. And they do say Dharma Trading Company does sell both, so I have not really found any difference between the Jacquard and the Dharma brand. So if anybody else has seen a difference, please be sure to let me know. So when it comes to the dyes themselves, they come in a variety of sizes and at various costs. That's the Jacquard one, and the rest are Dharma. This is a 2-ounce version. They run from $1.95 to $5.95 a piece. They average about $2.95 each. If you buy about 3 or 4 of these, you can probably do about 8 pieces. T-shirt wise, if you're talking about sweatshirts, you'll probably get about 5. This is the 8-ounce. The 8-ounce is good if you know you're going to do bigger projects that use a lot of one color. These run from $4.95 for the low end ones all the way up to $14.99. They average about $8.95 for most colors. And then the big boys, what I buy, the 1-pounders, these will run you $11.99 all the way up to $24 or $26.99. Most of them average $17 or $18.95. You'd think they last a long time though, but I mean, I've gone through about maybe 30 of those tubs to do 400 shirts, plus all my 8 ounces and 2 ounces. So now we're going to talk a little bit about all the other accessories that you'll need to actually work on the shirt. First and foremost, nitrile gloves, K9N95 mask, absolute musts. I cannot emphasize enough, if you're working with the shirt that's been treated with soda ash, or you're working with the dye, you wear the gloves. Anytime you're working with the open dye or soda ash, you have to wear the gloves and the mask. I get these both from Amazon. The gloves can cost you about $24.99 now for 100. Next, you're going to want some washable markers to mark your center points, and to do some other things that we're going to need to do with some of our patterns, like draw out our V patterns or any of our emblems. Those I get at Walmart for about $2.99. Rubber bands. You need a variety. I usually mainly work with three. These little guys, real little guys, these heavy duty ones like you get with the tulip tie-dye kits, these bigger thin ones, and bigger thick ones. And I have a purpose for each, and later on I'll kind of show you the purposes for each. But these ones like you get with tulip, I get on Amazon. You get like 250, or I think it's 500 for $2.99. You'll need big tongue depressors. You can get them at a dollar store. I wouldn't get the dollar store ones, but Walmart's are like $1.99 for a pack of like 50 or 100. You'll need that to stir up the soda ash. You need a decent pair of scissors. Oh, before you need the scissors, get yourself a little protractor. You can pick these up in the dollar store as well. You'll need that for the V patterns. I got this ruler at Walmart. Every Walmart has a discount section. I found it there. It's got this little hole there, so I can actually put my finger on the hole, take my marker, and just kind of hold it, and use it to draw some nice arcs. So it comes in kind of as a double tool. And you can pick those up cheap enough. And you're definitely going to want a yardstick version. These help you when you fold the shirts in half to keep those back halves, two pieces, real tight against one another, and to measure out some longer measurements. You can get that at Home Depot for $2.99. Now this I picked up in that discount section I was telling you about because it was missing one of the knitting needles. It was on sale for $1.50 for the 4 instead of the 5. And you can use them when you're working on the shoulders to get those edges up nice and tight against one another. Very handy little tool, or when you're working on little tight work and you're trying to move the little pieces of the shirt around. Like I said, $1.50. Very, very handy tool. I use natural polishing hemp and any good pair of scissors, but I use a natural polishing hemp that's in Walmart. You can find it in their crafter section, $4.99. One of these spools will probably last most people like 4 years. I mean, it lasts most of the time. It lasts me 6 months, and I'm doing 6-8 shirts a week. So now we have our project. We're going to put our dye on, and then we're going to put ice on. Now, unless you're as really incredible as Casual Collisions, who can put the dye on and not have it fall off the sides, most of us are going to have those curved edges. So we need some kind of border to go around it. The main method that most people will use is to cut down cardboard, tape strips of it together to actually form the full border. I find this to be very cumbersome. It starts to hurt my fingers to keep cutting the cardboard down, but you're going to take the cardboard, basically, fold pieces around and tape them so that they stick as one, larger piece. Now, this is still a handy process for some layouts. Sometimes you get a shape that's real funky, and as you can see, I still do cut down any of my Amazon boxes just to keep a bunch of those around for those odd shaped projects that really need a lot of curves. But for most projects, I find this stuff is awesome. It's just a rubber border. It's actually an under the door garage sealer. It's supposed to keep water out from under garage doors. They clean off beautifully just with your fingers. I use a pair of gloves, but it'll feel like a little gritty sand if there's any dye there. And like I said, I've reused mine 50, 60 times, and they're like brand new. Very versatile. You buy them in 18-foot spools for about $24.99 and just cut them down to size. I cut down about 5 or 6 of them, like you see here, about the size you see here. And then I just use, a few items to kind of rig it all together the way it needs to be, to hold the shape. These clips I got, you get 6 for $1 at Dollar Tree. So I kind of clip my edges, and then this is what I use these bigger thin rubber bands for, so that I don't pinch it too tight, because if you pinch that too tight against the sides, your sides won't get a lot of good coverage. And now when you put the ice on, it won't be falling all off the sides. Again, this is what's left of my 18-foot spool. So you can see I got 5 or 6 cut off and I still have that much left. And this is 2 1/4 inches wide, which is maybe a little higher than you really need. And then you're going to need something to cover the table when you're ready to do the dye. You can buy any Dollar Tree tablecloth. My best suggestion would be a Dollar Tree drop cloth in their little tiny hardware section. Those things, you could quadruple them and still get 8. There's so much material on those things. So that's my best suggestion there. You're definitely going to need some kind of tray to do your projects in. A tray this size, about 18 inches by roughly 24 or 28 inches. We'll do 2 projects, like 2 t-shirts you could do in there. But you're going to want to use something like this so that all the dye and the ice can drain down into something that you can easily pour down your sink and relatively easy rinse out. If you're a lunatic like me, you get one of these big bad boys. You can get these about $12 to $14.99, Walmart, Dollar General. This will handle 3 big projects with no problem. Sometimes I'll handle 4 projects if one of them's a scrunch dye. Now, you're going to need to put something in to put the project on for everything to drain down. Now, I've seen some people use just big wire grating or wire sheets, like shelving sheets on there. I prefer something like this because then I can lift one individually at a time if I'm doing more than one project to check the underneath to make sure it went through. They set up really easily. I got this one at Walmart, a pack of 3 for $9.99. I don't suggest the stainless steel or aluminum ones because you end up having to brush them every time with a wire brush to get everything off. They do kind of rust up a little bit. I suggest these. They almost feel like they have a Teflon coating on them. Again, these are at Walmart. A little more expensive at $12.99 for 3. Very, very durable. Much heavier than the stainless steel ones. They're much sturdier base. And again, they clean much more beautifully, don't rust. And you would just lay your project out on it like that. Pop your border around it. You know, you lay your dye on it, lay your ice on it. And you're good to go. And finally, you will need a product called Synthol. Synthol is a textile detergent that stops the dye from reacting with the shirt. This is what we wash it in after we rinse them in cold water, warm water, and in steaming hot water. We wash it in hot water in this Synthol. As I said, it stops the dye from reacting with the shirt, so that first off, anything from that point on that's excess will get washed out in the hot water. And because it stops the dye from reacting with the shirt, that water with all that excess dye won't bleed and get washed back into the shirt, like ruining your yellows and oranges and other colors. This you can get again at Amazon.com, DharmaTradingCompany.com. I usually buy the 32 ounce, but again, a 32 ounce, I even do this professionally, and a 32 ounce will go literally for 6-8 months of worth of projects. I would suggest for most users, just get the pint version. It runs about $6.99 probably a pint, and maybe a little bit more with the shipping. But it is a definite must. You will see a world of difference. My shirts look so much more colorful. The colors pop so much more brightly than if you just wash this that first time in regular laundry detergent. So you definitely have to pick that up. Now, whatever projects you do work on, again, be sure and let me know here at dyeversedesigns@yahoo.com. Drop me a line. I'm sorry I'm not really available on Facebook yet. I'm having a little bit of trouble with my account keeps getting hacked there. So, if you can just send me an email at yahoo.com, send me some pics of what you're doing, let me know what you'd like to see. At this point, I'm just going to take like maybe a minute and a half to just go through, for any of the professionals, some of the items that I found really good values. And that would be, if you're looking for racks for your shows, I bought this double rack with wheels on Amazon. Everything just clicks together. It's just one pole inside the other. You slide it down and the little button clicks through a hole. They pop up and break down in about 5 minutes. The downside is that I do need to use bungee cords to bind up the sections, but it is pretty flexible and handy. Had I spent about $56, I could have got a collapsible version that would have just taken all of about 10 seconds to pop up or down. So it's your choice whether you want the lower cost or the greater convenience. Either one works out really good. For crafters tents, absolutely, the Euromax 10-foot by 10-foot crafters tent. It is amazing. Mine came with all 4 walls. It has one big 3-wall section and then a front that has a big door with a window on it. And it comes with the awning, comes with the wheel carrying bags. It comes with sandbags that you can put weight in. You definitely want to get weights. I bought 4 10-pound weights because if you put the sides on, this thing is literally like a kite. It'll go up really fast, really far. So I definitely suggest that. Now, as far as putting it up or taking it down, the very first time you put it up, you do need one other person. It does take a little bit of muscle to get that pulled down nice and tight and snug over the full surface. But once you have it up that first time, that takes about 15-20 minutes. Once that's set up, it takes literally, I'm a 59-year-old man with stage 4 COPD, and I can put this up or take it down by myself in literally just under 5 minutes. It's so easy, awesome and wonderful. $210 at Amazon.com. I showed you earlier a dress that I had done. I display both my dresses and as many shirts as I possibly can with something that you see here, this little half mannequin. I get these at Store Supply Warehouse. Awesome company for a lot of your basic necessities, like anything that you're going to use for displays, signs, thank you bags, all that kind of stuff. They have the best prices going. Again, that's storesupplywarehouse.com or storesupply.com. And this is an example of what I was talking about. They're half mannequin, half torso mannequins. They're just like a plastic mold, and they have these neat hangers, that'll work in any kind of situation. The shirts display beautifully on them. If you check out my 1-year trip from first time to pro video, you'll see in some of my sales there, you'll see the t-shirts being displayed on these, and they just look dynamite on them. They're cut in half and it's all hollow. So if you're going to put these on a table, you would really just have to put some kind of weight, like dollar store rocks or something like that, in the bottom, and then put the shirt on, and then just kind of tuck the shirt either into that back section to hide the rocks. But again, I use them to hang up. They're only $7.80 a piece, so you really can't go wrong. And finally, if you're a professional, you're going to need something to collect money with. Best thing I've found so far is the Square Reader. If you sign up for a Square account, they will give you a free little one that plugs into that little, I guess it's like an RCA jack that you would normally plug a microphone or a headset into. They'll give you one of those that people can swipe, but a lot of times they get damaged very, very easily from the swipes, and so you end up not being able to get the sale through. That's very, very disconcerting to a customer. I went out and bought this one. At the time they had it on sale for $26.99, and this takes it all. They can swipe. If they just have tap, they can tap the card. Or if they have the chip, they can insert it and it'll read the chip. They charge 2.37% plus 10 cents for each transaction, which isn't bad for a company taking credit cards. When I've done the research, that is pretty much the average. And they do generally have the money in your account within 48 hours at the latest. Most of my experiences have all been within 24 hours. So again, I hope you really enjoyed this. I hope you got a lot of use out of it. As somebody who's living for the better good of all, I can tell you nothing feels better than doing something good for somebody else. Get that feeling right now. Hit the subscribe button that's going to come up in a few seconds. A green tie-dye t-shirt inside of a circle between two suggested videos. It helps me out. It's not for my ego or to be monetized. I just want to get my rankings up there so that when somebody does a search, I show up somewhere where they might get to see that I'm out there. So please help me out. Help the people out that I'll be helping out that will be able to reach. I promise you'll feel good you did. Go ahead and click that button. You'll feel great. Till then, I am Dyeverse Designs, positive energy designs for positive energy people. AKA living for the better good of all. I hope you are too.